Thank you, everybody. It's nice to see so many people here today. It's slowly filling up the Zendo again. When the pandemic came, we were sitting on the floor because of so many people were coming. And at one point, we had to use the back room. So, but then everything dropped out because people were all using the Zoom. But it's really nice to see people sitting on the tawns again, on cushions. Okay, this talk is especially for those who have already told me they wanted to make a rock suit, which is this. It's a robe, a small robe. And so this talk is especially for them. It's called the Precepts and Commitment. If there's anybody else who would like to make a rock suit, please let me know. We will start and work in the kitchen and make the robe together. How many kits do we have?
We're gonna buy 5 kits.
Okay, that's good.
So raise your hand if you're in the Zendo now and want a kit.
Okay, so that's 7. We've had 7 before.
Avisa wants to do it. She put up her. Avisa wants to do it too.
Okay, so after the salsa and the service is over, tell me again, I'll make a list. So this is the Precepts and Commitment. Our freedom to decide even the smallest things has been what we think of as our right since we were children, and we're asked always, do you want chocolate or vanilla ice cream? When we go to a restaurant, we expect to make decisions about everything that comes to the table. Decision making on the most trivial levels gives us the illusion of control of reality. If you go to a monastery practice, however, everything is the opposite. It's all relearned, from walking to eating to using the bathroom and putting on robes. It's like being an infant again. There's always someone to show you what needs to be done right, to correct you when you do it wrong. If ego is not present, if beginner's mind is present, we feel loved and cared for like an infant. And we're always learning. In the monastery, and there's no luxury to decide whether or not to do something. We just have to do 100%. It was as if there were a terrible situation, but there is also the excitement of entering a new realm in which everything is to learn. It's like learning a new language. One's mind is constantly being challenged, stretched to accommodate new perceptions. Because of constant learning, one feels alive every moment. This is very different from our usual feeling of being, quote, adult, and therefore we already know what we need to know. There is a saying that at first you chase the Dharma, and then the Dharma chases you. I think when you stop to make a roxu, the Dharma begins to chase you. And when you take the uh, the precepts strongly, and you start making a roxu, while you're making it, the Dharma begins to enfold you in its life. You stretch in new ways, and the Dharma, Buddha Dharma, saying always, stop, look, listen. Our comfortable posture is shaken, but whatever we are doing or saying, Our thinking, Buddha Dharma, is present and we are called to attention, attention, attention. The thing is that on entering a monastery is to lose that right of personal decision making and to find our freedom instead in following the community way. This sounds limiting to a small mind, but our Sangha is governed by the precepts. So entering a monastery or temple is to begin to follow the precepts. Instead of spending time on decision making, entering a monastery frees us from the illusion about freedom and allows us to spend time on a much more pressing matter, the Buddha Dharma. What is Buddha nature? Without my ideas, who am I? Without my ideas, what is reality? The only way to survive in monastery life is to totally give ourselves up without hesitation to the practice. And that is true commitment. Entering a new place and following new customs requires a commitment right from the start. We have to check our egos at the door and open ourselves to what is unfamiliar and even disconcerting. We feel off balance, and a small mind feels the presence of danger. But even more than fearful, we become alert, open, and flexible. We try to live moderately by a good code of behavior already. So the idea of receiving the precepts doesn't seem so strange to us, just more of the same. We assume our lives will continue as always. But from the time re, we repeat our beginningless greed, oh no, but from the time we repent our beginningless greed, hate, and delusion, our lives begin to really change. At the ceremony, we say, in effect, that our lives are what we make them, and our karma has always been and is our own. And so in the ceremony, we make a commitment that will have an enormous impact on our lives, even though that doesn't seem so at the time. But we begin to examine our lives and see it from the point of view of the precepts. I think from that moment, the Dharma begins to chase us. If we step away from our egos, we will have a wonderful opportunity to understand Buddha Dharma better in ordinary life. And at this point, I want to read some of the precepts, the 10 negative ones of do nots.
You even seen the precept?
No, I finally got it. It's on the front page, which was hard. And then these precepts are: do not kill, do not steal, do not misuse sexuality, do not lie, do not give or take drugs, do not discuss the faults of others. I think that one is the most difficult for everybody. It seems so natural to say to ourselves and then to somebody else, he's really sloppy, and then say to other people the same thing. But this is equally one of the serious precepts to adhere to. Not praising oneself while abusing others, not to withhold the Dharma, not to indulge in anger, and not to defame the Dharma. Now, it's also very difficult to not praise yourself and put down others. So if you say, for example, well, I was sitting and I noticed that all the others were standing over there, but I was sitting. Anyway, we'll work about this later. I think we'll have weekly classes and precepts for those who are going to make our rock soup, or for anybody else who wants to join. By the time we repent our beginning as greed, hate, and delusion, our lives begin to change. At the ceremonies say in effect that our lives are what we make them, and our karma has always been and is our own. So in the ceremony, we make a commitment that will have an enormous impact on our lives, even though that doesn't seem so at the time. We begin to examine our lives and to see it from the point of view of the precepts. I think from that moment, the Dharma begins to chase us. If we step away from our egos, we will have a wonderful opportunity to understand Buddhism better in our ordinary lives. Most of us approach reality as if we were at a buffet lunch. We have choices. We can exercise decision making. We can be self-indulgent as often as we want. We can come when we want, leave when we want, and take as much as suits us for the moment. We can go somewhere else if we choose. But when we take the precepts, we have to deal with the Dharma at the buffet lunch as well as with our self nature. We can waffle about doing this or that as often as we please, but the Dharma is present and at play moment after moment. Waffling will not get rid of that, nor can we escape. The Dharma is now really chasing us. Dharma has become our reality. We can choose to feel trapped in suffering or alert and interacting every moment with the Dharma. We can learn constantly if we keep our beginner's mind. I need a page turner.
Like Danny said.
There's a funny scene in Wednesday when she is sitting on the roof playing her cello. And at some point she gets very tired and then the hand comes up and turns the page for her. Thing, yeah. Our thinking mind will tell us we have a reason to be a victim, but our commitment is another matter. Waffling only confuses the issue and leaves a lot of tracks behind. Commitment makes a full engagement of ourselves with reality, with the theme, and is trackless. We leave nothing behind to struggle with at another time. We think it's okay to have one foot in the door and one foot outside, to try a little of this and that, to say that what we will do and then what we won't do. For some strange reason, waffling like this, it makes us feel that there is always more where that came from. So it doesn't matter whether you do it now or later. We really need to feel safe. But we have to deal with the Dharma at the buffet lunch as well as with ourselves. We can waffle about doing this or that as much as we please, but there is a Dharma to deal with, and the Dharma does not waffle. Without ideas and faulty preconcessions, There is a Dharma present and at play in everything we do from the time we take the precepts. In the Lotus Sutra, some children are playing with their toys in a beautiful house which is burning and are so engrossed with their toys that they don't hear the cries of their father who wants to save them. They don't sense their danger, so they continue to play with their toys. This is like us ignoring Buddha Dharma, who keeps saying to us, your house is burning. Then there are the perfections or the prajnaparamitas. They are a guide to how to practice the precepts. Commitment is what makes us adult. The first perfection is generosity. We wholeheartedly give ourselves to the task at hand. The second perfection is ethics. We take care of our own behavior and are willing to limit ourselves for the benefit of others. The third perfection is patience with ourselves and others. The fourth perfection is patience with us. No, the fourth perfection is diligence. And as we practice wholeheartedly, the fifth perfection is meditation, in which we pay attention and learn to sit. And our soul mind feels some danger in that because we don't want to be enveloped by the whole Buddha Dhamma. So we can become fearful and try to escape. But if we become alert, open, and flexible, it is a condition which will aid us in everything. We try to live by moderately good code, so the idea of receiving the precepts doesn't seem strange. Just more of the same. We assume our lives will be always the same as well. But from the time we repent our beginnings, greed, hate, and delusion at the beginning of the ceremony, our lives begin to fully change. At the ceremony, we say in effect that our lives are what we make them. And so in the ceremony, we make a commitment that will have an enormous impact on our lives, even though at first we don't see that. I guess this is, yes.
Definitely.
Commitment to the precepts is a whole different matter. Waffling confuses the issue and leaves a lot of tracks. Commitment means full engagement of ourselves and leaves no tracks. We have nothing, we leave nothing behind to meet at another time. You think it's okay to have, well, I read this already. Okay. Okay, thank you, Dan. If you have questions, you can bring them up at any time. Just say, Jane, I have a question, and we'll stop everything and listen to it.
Jane, I have a question.
Yeah,
When you say the Dharma chases after you, does that mean like life will get easier?
it doesn't get easier, it gets more terrifying, actually,
Okay.
because it's everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's the Dharma. At that point, you can't escape it. So if you have small mind dealing with it, you get kind of worried. But if your mind is open, it becomes exciting.
in this sounds silly, but it seems like when we take the precepts, and I took the precepts 9 years ago, I exchanged what I thought was freedom for what really was freedom. Because with the precepts, when you really study them and analyze them, you find out that is really what we actually trying to do, whether we're Buddhist or not. That is our essence. And do you feel that even though that adds a responsibility to our lives, because we want to keep the precepts, do you feel that we are changing one freedom for another? One that we've imagined, doing what we want to do, and then taking the precepts, and it actually frees us from the struggles of samsara.
I think that it's, you don't, you don't exchange one freedom of choice and living by whatever you want for another, was is practicing in Buddha Dharma, which is living by the precepts. And as you practice with them, you begin to embody them. And when you embody them, you don't have to think about what should I do. Your whole body knows what to do. I think that in the Buddha Dharma, you have great freedom once you let go of what binds you, like thinking.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jane, could you juxtapose the difference between uh, the precepts and the Eightfold Path?
The Eightfold Path is the way that Buddha gave to free ourselves. So it's living by a very strict code, like I'm trying to think of words of it. It's a very strict code of what not to do. And if you do that, you can truly free yourself from yourself and your thinking and all the things that bind you badly. It's like the proper attitude, the right attitude, the right job. What are the rest of this? Like 10 of them, I think.
Right intention,
Right intent.
right action.
Yeah.
So everything that comes before the decision and then the livelihood and, what's an ethical guideline,
Yes.
the precepts and moral, and one's how to live your life.
Your whole life, yeah. So that you begin to examine yourself even more fully when you follow the Eightfold Path. You find yourself doing something and saying, well, that's not right in attitude, and that's not right speech. And so you slowly change and you embody that also. And when you do that, you have a lot of freedom, even within the Buddha Dharma.
Just for those new practitioners that are trying to do this, I would just encourage you to study as much as you can in different facets, and don't be limited in your scope, really. And just understand, at least for me, everybody's experience is different. Um, but for me, it's just there's a lot of traps in life, and what the Buddha was talking about for me is like that's a trap over there, that's a trap over there. And it's a roadmap basically. To stay
Yeah.
out of different snares. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's true. There's a lot of traps in this life, and we don't recognize it because we're used to thinking we can make any decision we want to pull ourselves out of something. Then we find ourselves in quicksand and realize that not everything can be managed without the help of others. So the more you study precepts, the more you are inclined to work with others and to take care of them at the same time. Do you have something else to say, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say. I'm not sure, but
Let's hear it.
yeah, it's definitely, look at their. It's different from other religions in that they're not really commandments. They're just suggestions for how.
Yeah,
So if you take that as like when you're making a decision and you need advice, you know, I think people oftentimes start to go to other sources to try to figure out, well, hey, I'm going to call this person, but I think that this guideline gives you the ability to make those decisions for yourself,
yeah,
and then you start to rely on your own um, thinking because you have your own set principles,
yeah,
and those principles become the bedrock for life.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Very true. So when you want to be sure about what you're doing, there's always someone in the practice that will listen to you because the practice of a Zendo is like one warm hand to another warm hand. So whatever we gain, we give away to someone else that needs it. And when someone gives us something, we acknowledge it, whereas in the past, we probably never even noticed it.
Yeah, when I took the precepts, I had to give a presentation on a precept. Was elevating and blaming, he said. And, all the ways that we elevate and blame. So, but I realized that I'm sarcastic. Sarcasm is simply elevating and blaming. If you could see it in that growing context, it really was revelatory for me to see the harm and the elevation of the self at the same time. And it was pretty interesting. I also saw it in a business context, because I lead teams, that just being a manager is elevating the plane. So, I saw how kind of be more integrated in the team without being external to it. So, yeah, there's each one of these nuances applies differently in each one of our lives.
It's true. And so we're always in an individual journey in this practice. And we always carry our load, I was gonna say, on our backs, our crap, yeah. We always carry that ourselves. We don't pass it to somebody else, although we may have done it a lot in the past is when the load got too heavy, we took some of it off and threw it onto another person. So,
Are you saying this is a practice of accountability?
yes,
And responsibility.
and accountability, yeah.
I think Shirai Suzuki used to say that we are not two, but we're not.
Yeah,
And that's very important to remember that we're not two, but we're also not. Like you're a finger part of the hand. That's the way I've heard it before. And that's a very important.
okay. Everybody get that?
Are you in the same way?
If people in the Zendo would please speak up a little louder for us at home.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Thank you. No, we can hear you fine, Jade. It's just depending on the distance from the microphone.
Does anybody here have something to say or add to this?
Anybody at home? On Zoom? Joe?
Joel?
Hi, wonderful talk, Jane. Thank you so much. Oh, one thing that struck me is that when you were reading the 10 precepts, I didn't recognize one of them. The words you used was different from the word um, that I've been used to. And
What-
thinking about it, it was the precept not to be avaricious. That was the word I was used to. It's the third of the second half. And so I just wanted to bring that up because it seems like clearly one that would be helpful to clarify.
Yeah,
I learned that it's don't be greedy, Joel. Is
Oh,
that?
well, don't be craving. Is that what you used in yours? Don't be craving.
I don't remember that one at all. Maybe I missed one.
No, you didn't. It was like, you know, don't speak badly of others. Don't praise self and put down others. Then the next one was the one I was struck by, and then don't hold on to anger and don't defame the treasures. And I think it was avaricious.
It was not to withhold the Dharma. It was number 8.
Yeah,
Don't be stingy. Oh, well, that's don't be stingy with the Dharma. Okay, not to
Not to
lie.
be stingy, not to be avaricious. Um,
different.
yes, so thanks. That is not to withhold the Dharma, to be generous,
That's
which
right.
the
Whatever you
first,
receive in your being, you give away to somebody else because taking on things is not what this practice is, but mostly it's taking off things. So
oh,
when you have a chance to give what you've learned to another person, do it. And
yes, that's wonderful. That's really helpful. I mean, it's the first perfection, generosity.
yes,
So it's do not be avaricious, do not be stingy, is to offer, always
yes,
offer whatever
yeah.
you have to offer.
I first started practicing, uh, the priest would always do the echo after the chant. And in the echo, he was always saying, we give all the merit we've made in this to everybody. And I would think, I might need that. But it
Okay.
was not to be, it was no matter what it was, we gave it away. Even the chant we gave away, even bowing we give away. Because if we just load ourselves up with things, it's gonna be much harder to wake up. So all the time we are taking off.
Yeah. So we give our life away.
We give everything away that we think of as life,
Yes.
including ourselves.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thanks so much. That's a real help.
It's a real difficulty too. It's really hard to give away what you think of as really necessary. Like maybe I can get enlightened if I keep this one, but then you find out no, to get enlightened you have to give everything away. You can't give a thing.
Yeah.
And we first learned that in Tassajara when the priest would always say, okay, now we've chanted the Heart Sutra and we dedicate that to everybody. And I'm thinking, I might need that, I'm just new in this.
John, you had a question?
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Jane. Great talk. Um, so my understanding of the precepts, and I just wanted to clarify something because it seems that some people are perhaps looking at them as a way to make a decision between right and wrong, which is a carryover, I think, from Judeo-Christian, the Ten Commandments, and so forth.
Yeah,
But unless I'm mistaken, the real heart of the precepts are guidelines for not creating these strings, not creating these ties to these events that happen to us, these traces that create this mental suffering. So it's really more so a guideline, not of making a decision for what's right or wrong. Really, when it comes to the precepts, it's not really a matter of what's right or wrong or what the outcome is at all, but rather how you process that and how you um, it's really about cutting the strings when these events happen to us in our lives and we're looking to work our way through them. The precepts are a guide for cutting the strings, not really for looking for a right or wrong path per se. Am I right there, or am I barking up the wrong tree?
No, that's right. It's and therefore it's an act or an understanding of each person to find out for themselves that when they follow this, they are on solid ground. So
Thank you, Jane. I appreciate you
thank you,
clarifying.
John. That was a well put.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say for all the new people, if you guys are lost at all, I can give you some book titles that will maybe give you a little bit of the backstory. Some of this stuff, there's a lot. There's a lot. So, you know, I have specifically Soto Zen books that will tell you do this.
Yeah, you can just follow these right way of thinking and speech and right way of doing things without leaving endless tracks behind. But it's your way to learn how not to leave tracks. So if you just follow something 100%, I think you find out that the practice is basically very, very simple and practical. You learn it with the practical sense of Buddhism that everything you get rid of is really something you should have gotten rid of a long time ago, and you'll be very happy to lose it. And everything in this practice is really, really practical, more than holy or anything like that. It's just very practical. If you put this weight you carry under back on the ground, you can move a lot more comfortably.
Jane?
Yeah,
I just want so to clarify a little bit further. So I think that the use of the word right, like a lot of terms that are used in, Zen that are translated over from the Chinese and, from India. So when we hear right this, right work, right thought, right this, right that, it gives a sense of this is the way to do it, and there is only one right way, and if you do it another way it's wrong. I think more so what we're looking for here with regards to the word right is just skillful, not right or wrong per se, but these are guidelines for doing things skillfully that won't leave or help are helpful in not leaving a trace. Am I correct in saying that?
indeed, John, that's very well put. And I think, what was the word you used? Skillful would be the best way to say it. Yeah, I think that's true because in Buddhism, there is not a wrong or a right way. There's just the way of moving in a very difficult place without getting lost in it. And
But
so you,
there are things that we do and that we say and that we think that may be anathema to our Buddha nature. And therefore, those are the things that create these strings, these traces that we're talking about because they don't sit with our Buddha nature right. And
I
so
think
that's
it's
really
true.
what the right is about, right? It's about centering what we do and what we think and how we act and what our work is in line with our Buddha nature. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means that it's in line with our nature and therefore doesn't create these traces. And our Buddha nature and our the way that we feel and we look and we think about these things are very different from person to person. Everybody's experiences in their life affect this greatly. But I just
Yeah,
want to get us away from right and wrong. There isn't right and wrong. There's just
there
trying
isn't right.
to clip the
It's
strings.
just what is very practical. How do you do this to get from here to there? Kind of truth. Did you have your hand up, Matt?
Yeah. I've found over the years for myself, and if you could comment on this, please, that the precepts are arrows pointing towards eliminating the boundaries between myself and intimacy with the world, with between myself and, in a sense, lovingly engaging with the world, as opposed to doing, uh, uh, anything out of self-centeredness. Just a matter of being engaged as fully as possible in the moment with whatever it is I happen to be doing, and with whom I'm doing it with, whether it's a person or a thing, for example, making something. Um, that's it.
Well, I think this way is just the way to avoid making karma that you will meet again later. It just helps you to let things go, but to do it in a way that you won't meet it again.
But isn't that kind of a self-serving way to look at it, though?
Well,
With
you're
all,
the only one around to do it.
I beg your pardon?
Well, you're the only one around to do it, so you might as well take care of things when you do it so you don't meet your own karma soon. And that may be self-serving. It's also rather intelligent.
I had a thought. You said that it was separating you from the world with intimacy with the world. It's really about separating the precepts of it's intimacy with yourself. Because when you see all these things arise in yourself, you can stop them. And when you stop them, you become intimate with the world. And that's skillful means. That's upaya. That's applied equally across everything.
Yeah, one day a talk on upaya would be good because that really is important. How to be skillful in this world.